this Montreal Canadiens team, we got to talk about them for a second.
We do.
And I mean, you brought up the Kotkaniemi thing, you know, flashing the 4 to the press box. Like, first of all, Lepore, what the hell was this team thinking? Scratching Cole Caulfield the first 2 games. A team that is having a ton of trouble scoring goals. So just to bring some stats your way, everybody, this team has now scored just 55 goals over the last 27 games. That is 2.04 goals per game over their last 27 games. And they're healthy scratching Kotkaniemi. They're healthy scratching Cole Caulfield. I mean, we can go in a bunch of different directions with the Habs right now, but Lepore, just give me your take on what you've seen from the Montreal Canadiens.
We'll start with that the Cole Caulfield thing. If I was a Montreal Canadiens fan and we went into this series scratching this kid, I would have snapped. I would have been furious. You're in a series, and let's face it, I don't care who you are, Leafs fan, Habs fan, neutral hockey fan, the Toronto Maple Leafs are heavily favored in this series, or we're going into this series heavily favored. You need things to happen to win. You need a spark somewhere. You need some sort of surprise. You need a big save. You need timely scoring. Things have to go your way to beat an opponent that is on the ice in the lineup superior to you. To me, Caulfield kind of represents that possible X factor. The kid's jumpy. He's a firecracker. He can score. So to me, number one, we're not a good scoring team. So why would we not have the kid in the lineup anyway? And then number two, to my point of like, we need something to happen to beat the Leafs. We need something to kind of come out of left field and be a little different to win over 7 games. That could have been it. Like, it confused me so much. And I saw some people on Canadiens Twitter saying, well, 2 of the kids' goals were an OT, and the playoffs isn't 3-on-3, and he's not responsible defensively, and he's just coming out of college hockey. Who cares?
Yeah, who fucking cares?
You're going in as an underdog. Like, this kid has a rifle, man. This kid
He's got the most
rifle.
lethal shot on their roster.
Not even close.
It's literally not even close. I don't care about Tyler Toffoli, who scored 28 goals or whatever, even Josh Anderson. Cole Caulfield, Lepore, when he has time and space in the offensive zone, I am terrified of that.
You get that little jump up. To me, he's the only player in the Habs, and maybe Suzuki, where I get that little like, like when he's like they get that wrist is about to snap when he has the puck. But no, like, absolute craziness. And even the thing about, he's not good defensively. You would probably want, and it sounds kind of weird because of Toronto's firepower, like, let's just get into a track meet. And who knows what happens. And like, Toronto's power play has been struggling. Maybe we get into a big power play battle with them. I didn't get it at all. And like, we joked texting about it, like, what, Mike Babcock's running the Montreal Canadiens now, like, benching this kid, like, unreal call. And then it was weird because a lot of people in Montreal media said, well, he's going to play in the series eventually. Like, they kind of knew, maybe it was because Montreal didn't want his first game to be on the road. Like, give me a break. Like, stop overthinking it. He's a good player. Put the kid in. Shocking,
and look what they've done. The series is essentially over at this point, and they wasted 2 games without one of their biggest game breakers. And it's like you said, Lepore, I do not care that he's 20 years old and he just came off playing college hockey and he's only played 10 games in the regular season. He scored 4 goals in 10 games. We all see that shot. We all see how dangerous he is. This is a team that is struggling mightily to generate offense right now. Like, this team, when they enter the offensive zone, they have absolutely zero ability to cycle the puck. I saw Mike Kelly. He's an NHL stats guy and broadcaster. He was showing a stat where the Leafs have had, like, this was actually heading into game 4, where the Leafs were out-chancing the Habs on the cycle, like 37-11 or something crazy like that. Like, so this is a team, it's like they need offense any way they can get it. And to literally scratch a guy because he's young, like, what the hell were they like? I just did not understand that decision whatsoever. He should not be out of this lineup the rest of the series, however long it lasts at this point. But yeah, man, that just made me scratch my head with that.
You mentioned the point about like the cycling stats. you don't even have to see the stats. It's so obvious. Like what Montreal doesn't have, and again, I don't care if you're a Leafs fan, Habs fan, or a neutral fan. What Toronto has a lot of players who I always identify it as like that patience talent where they enter the zone and they can cut back, look around, buy time, find the open man. Like Marner can do that. Matthews can do that. Nylander can do that. Even Spezza can do that. These guys who come in and they're able to create something that's not there. And it's never anything crazy spectacular. It just allows time for the players to enter the zone. And now we got something. We can move it around, create something, do whatever we want. And I mean, the king of that is Crosby. Like, I'm always amazed at how he can enter a zone. It looks like he's totally screwed. And before you know it, the Penguins are snapping the puck around. And Montreal doesn't have that type of talent. Like, let's face it, like, Toffoli's a shooter. Okay. Anderson, who I love, he's not that type of player. He just comes in at 100 miles an hour and tries to run you over. And you have this type of skill with Caulfield. And I don't know if he's necessarily that type of a player, but regardless, he's an added dimension. He's an offensive threat. It's just crazy. Like to me, I don't understand any explanation. And it's a weird thing. Like we saw it with that crazy review with Bergevin that Ducharme moved forward with. What's going on in Montreal? It's like, I don't know, man. Like here I am a Leafs fan. If Montreal scored a goal and then I saw like Shanny and Dubas like pointing at the camera, like, or pointing at the TV, I should say, to send down and challenge, I'd be like, is that not somebody else's job? Like, do you not have someone like on the headsets or like, I don't know, one of the assistant coaches is looking down at the iPad and then he kind of hangs his coach out to dry? Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's a weird dynamic. I don't know whose call it was, like who's the boss of what situations. And when you have unclear responsibilities like that, it's not just in sports, it's in business, it's in anything. It's not good. And that's kind of like how Montreal looks right now. And again, the whole thing with Caulfield, people saying, oh, well, he'll play game 3. Well, why? Because you know he should be. So you're just waiting for, like, what if you would have been up 2-0? Then would you put him in? Probably not. Like, it's just, the whole thing was weird and confusing to me. Like, we can talk about that one all day.
Yeah, no, Lepore, you nailed it, man. Like the decision making right now in Montreal, like starting with Bergevin and down to Dominic Ducharme, like in terms of the, challenging that phantom goalie interference. I don't know what the hell they saw, not playing Cole Caulfield and Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Like if I'm a Montreal Canadiens fan, I am heavily questioning the decision making from those two guys right now. Like it just does not make any sense. And Lepore, even going back to that point where you said about how the Leafs have those guys that they enter the zone, they're patient with the puck, they can make plays happen. Montreal, man, they're literally just like a straight line team. They come into the zone, they get a shot on net, and see you later. The Leafs scoop up the puck, and their D-men are moving it out of the zone. Like, you just never feel like that team is a threat to sustain anything in the offensive zone unless they're on the power play.
Even then on their power play, they've had a hard time.
Oh yeah, 0 for 13 on the power play, I should mention, in this series are the Montreal Canadiens. So they are no threat whether they are on. They're only a threat when they're on the power play or it's late in the third period and they've pulled Carey Price and they're in desperation mode.
Or shorthanded, as we saw in game 1.
Exactly. So, I mean, there's a lot of issues right now with the Montreal Canadiens. And yeah, if I'm a Habs fan at this point, I'm extremely frustrated with the decision-making, with the play of the players. I mean, outside of Carey Price at this point, who I think has done literally everything in his power to try and make this series competitive.
What a stud.
Yeah, man, we can go on and on, but